Good morning, Mortgage Coachers. My name is Wichai. I am one of the National Account Trainers here at Mortgage Coach. I'm really excited to be here on today's Beginner 101 course. Today we're going to be covering a lot. I think you guys will get a lot of use out of the Beginner's course in helping you understand the fundamentals of Mortgage Coach and some best practices. And just a little bit about myself. I've been in the mortgage industry since 1996. I've been a processor, an underwriter, and a loan officer. So as we go through the beginner's training course, we're going to make sure that we kind of follow the natural flow of conversations that we have as typical loan originators, and really just want to make sure that we connect some dots on making sure you understand that as mortgage professionals, it's our goals to effectively communicate our loan options to borrowers and partners alike. And we're going to show you how you're going to be able to accomplish that with Mortgage Coach. So couple of things that we'll go over, as you can see here on the screen. And by raise of hands, if you guys just can raise your hands, just making sure you can confirm that you could see my screen, I would greatly appreciate that. I want to make sure that as we thank you very much for raising your hands. As we continue on through our little journey on creating these reports, just want to kind of point out what the end result is. So as you can see on my screen, you see a desktop version of a completed total cost analysis. And I want to make sure you guys understand that for those of you guys who haven't had the opportunity to download the mobile app, I assure you it's a game changer. You'll definitely want to be able to provide your advice at a quick email or text from your phone. And I wanted to introduce how your clients will be able to view your advice. So once again, our Mortgage Coach app will allow you to communicate your advice from any iPhone, Android, tablet, or Android device. So as you can see here, I went ahead and emailed me a link, or I emailed myself a link. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link just like if a client would, and open up the Mortgage Coach app to introduce our mobile app for those of you guys who haven't seen it. We will be covering the total cost analysis, how to create it. I really wanted to introduce the mobile app and make sure that you guys had the opportunity to see what it looks like from a desktop version and a mobile version. So as we're waiting for that report to come up, I highly recommend that if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to chime into the question box. We will be there to be able to answer any questions for you. So I wanted just to point out that as we click on I Understand, I introduce our mobile app. Our mobile app will allow you to still continue with that audio narration, allowing you to navigate through the website and provide a narration. I will go back to adding that audio video later. I also want to talk about, so real quick, so I see that there's a couple, so the app, it's called Mortgage Coach Edge. And I just wanted to confirm, I saw a few raise of hands. Could you once again please confirm that you can see my screen? Perfect. It looks like you can see my screen. And so bear with me 1 second. We're good. So can you guys confirm that you could see my phone?
I can't see your phone.
So unfortunately, I won't be able to show you. Right now what the app looks like, but I'll make sure to cross that towards the end. And so I do see that a lot of you guys can't see my phone. So I'm going to leave that conversation to the end. We will resolve that issue and make sure that you all are aware of how you could download the app and interact with the app as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at what we're going to create, talk about it, and go from there. So for those of you guys that have dual monitors, please take time to log on and join me in creating our beginner course. That way you kind of get a good head start on how best to use the software. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the software and navigate through creating one of these. I do see a a couple questions coming in, and thank you very much to my support team for taking a quick glance at those and answering those. So for those of you guys who have those questions, those answers are on their way. So as you can see here, I really wanted to point out that we are a web-based service, so you do have access. As long as you have internet access, you just go to edge.mortgagecoach.com. Now when you log on, you're going to log on by using your username and password. Now in doing so, it's going to get you to the home page. Now the home page, you'll see that there's a couple of radio buttons that we want to talk about.
One second, we're running into a bit of a screen share issue. Try unsharing and then share it again.
Bear with me one quick second. I believe we have a couple of issues that we're going to make sure we resolve right now. And hopefully we'll get back on it. So it looks like you guys could all see my screen. Thank you very much. I did see that some of you guys weren't able to see the screen. So as we jump back into talking about the report or creating the report, I want to talk about the home screen. This is the screen you guys are going to see the most. And we're going to talk about the radio buttons at the top. So I want to take a quick second and make sure that we understand exactly what these tabs or radio buttons do. Obviously, home will get you to your home page every single time, no matter where you're at throughout the wizard. New client. For those of you guys who haven't created a total cost analysis, that's where you're going to create the total cost analysis for refis, purchases, and rent versus owns. Now that new client section, that section is housed towards the top part of your page. When we break into the next section, it's the new partner section. Now the new partner section is going to allow you to create open house flyers for your realtors. And we'll quickly discuss that towards the end of the call as well. What I do want you guys to do, for those of you guys joining along, is make sure that we click on that settings section, because the settings section is very important for you guys to be able to go in there and make sure that your contact information is correct. Your first name, last name, username, your address, and contact info. You can go ahead and hit save, and then from there, just make sure that you add your image and logo, allowing your presentation to have both on the upper right and left-hand side. We are going to quickly talk about the products and fee templates. I highly recommend you guys take time creating your fee templates. There are two ways of creating fee templates. Your choice on how you want to create them. You could either create them here within the fee templates, and it's really easy, just creating whatever template you want to create. In this case, I'm just going to put 101. And then from there, I'll point out that you're able to add a few fees here. Now, really easy. All you have to do is locate what fee, what that cost is, and whether it's an APR fee or not. Now, on the non-APR fees, it's really quite easy. You're just going to find whatever fee it is, add that price, and you just won't add the APR fee. And for the paid prior to escrow, for those of you guys who are impounding their accounts, I will show you how you're able to use the fee templates. But anything that's paid prior to escrow, just make sure you click on paid prior to escrow, and it will make sure it notates that as well. So a few things: you can create your fee templates within your fee templates. You could create your products under your product templates. But you can also create the fee and product templates within the wizard, and I'll show you how to do that, or should I say within each presentation, and I'll show you how to do that as well. The product template is just the same. You click on new. All you have to do is name whatever the product template is, fill out all of the necessary information, and now you have product templates as well. For those of you guys who have enterprise accounts, you should see that your corporate office would have already uploaded some fee templates. I want to just make sure that you will not see corporate product or fee templates in this location. Your corporate product and fee templates will be within each product, and we'll discuss that in the product as well. So let's go home. let's talk about creating a total cost analysis and how best to create one. So I'm going to go ahead and hit new client for those of you guys joining along. Let's go ahead and click on new client and show you how to create one of these. Now, before we create a total cost analysis, I really wanted to connect some dots and make sure that we give you the formula of what we're asking you to input. And it's quite easy. Mortgage Coach has been around since '96, and we really took a lot of loan officers' advice of what's the best way to ask. You know, we've asked a lot of top loan originators, and we really mimicked the natural flow of conversation that each successful loan officer had, and we kind of meshed it all together. So this is our version of how we're able to structure a conversation and add a visual twist to it. So when we go through creating this 8-step wizard, I like to break it up into 3 simple steps. And I'm going to cover those 3 steps with you right now. So if you have anything to write with, I highly recommend you write this 3-step process down. It's going to help you navigate through the system without tripping over yourself. So when we cover the first step of this conversation, we're going to talk about the Clients tab, the Goals tab, the Assumptions tab, and the Affordability tab. I want to make sure each and every one of you guys know that those first 4 tabs are just discovery questions, gathering enough information to determine if a client qualifies for a mortgage, whether it be a refi or a purchase. Now, once we've determined that a client qualifies for a mortgage, we then jump into the second step of our conversation and show our clients the different types of loan options and products we have for them. So under the Products tab, this is where we're going to spend some time talking about how we're going to create the different scenarios and provide our advice. Remember, in the Products section, you're able to create up to 4 products. Now, I do see there's a quick question. So remember, I want to just take a quick step. I saw a great question here, making sure I think there was differences on understanding what the differences between a product template and a fee template. I want to make sure you guys understand product templates are what products you're going to create. FHA, conventional, 30-year, 20-year. And a fee template is the templates that will allow you to show your fees, good faith estimate fees, appraisals, processing fees, underwriting fees, recording fees, and so forth. So product fees are the products. Fees, templates are your actual fees. Now, jumping into making sure we talk about the second step is the product page. Keep in mind the product you can create up to 4 products. And then the last step within creating this is the Analysis Summary tab. So when you get to the Analysis Summary tab, remember this is just a side-by-side comparison of the loan options you created, allowing you to make some site adjustments and making sure that you're able to provide any reinvestment strategies or equity repositioning. And we will cover that when we create this right now. But I just wanted to give you a quick insight of what we're going to do. All we're going to do right now is have a quick conversation, and obviously I'm going to make sure that we qualify. And then from there, we're going to show some products. We're going to show what we can do for our clients. And then from there, we're going to finish off with any benefits we have, and then we're going to send it off. So that being said, let's go ahead and have some fun and create this. Today, I am going to use, let's go ahead and use Joe as our client. Now, by the way, as we go through the software, I'm going to cover and stop on the tabs that really truly impact you or the report itself. If I don't stop on it, I think you can get what it is. It's either middle name, last name, co-bars, but I'm only stopping on the ones that really impact. So that being said, always remember that you can create marketing campaigns or for that individual client. And the only difference is it removes the first, middle, and last name and provides a report headline. The next stop I'll make is making sure you understand rent versus own. If you were going to do a rent versus own, go ahead and click on rent. Anything else, you can go ahead and leave on own, and the goals tab will allow you to distinguish whether it's going to be a purchase or refi. For those of you guys who have not had an opportunity to email these reports out to your clients, I want to make sure that I kind of just advise that every single time you email the report out to your clients, you get notified by email that the client viewed the report. The reason I say that is because for those of you guys who have realtors that you want to be a little more transparent with, that you want to kind of bring into the conversation, by adding the partner email and adding their email address to the partner email, you include them in that email thread, which will allow them to also be notified every single time the client views the report. So you'll definitely see the advantages of being able to bring in that realtor into that email thread and bring them into the conversation. So as easy as that, we covered just the first name and the partner email. The friendly name is really to help you identify what you're doing. So in this case, since we're going to cover a purchase, we could either put to be determined, or we could put something like first-time home buyer, just to help you understand exactly what you're doing for this client. Now, as I navigate through the wizard, I'm going to use the arrow key. And by the way, just to mention, these arrow keys will allow you to navigate back and forth throughout the wizard, making sure that any changes are saved. Now, as we jump into the goals section, I want to just point out this is where you get to, build rapport, but you also get to tell the system what to do. So under the goals section, yes, you're able to click on a few of these things to find out what their goals are, but when you're telling the system what to do and you're clicking on anything that's refi related, I just want to point your attention that if you hover over assumptions and you see 3 pages pop up, that's going to be your key indicator that you're asking refinance questions. Now in this case, since we're going to be clicking on purchase a new home, I'll hover over that same assumptions box. You should see that no pages pop up. And that's because, that's your key indicator that you are going to be asking purchase questions. Since we are asking, we're going to be creating financial options for a purchase, I'm going to leave it on purchase and advance to the next page. Now, when we're looking on the assumptions page, the real main focus for us as loan originators is to understand what the average loan price or purchase price the client's interested in. So in this case, I'm going to use a purchase price of $250,000. So for those of you guys joining along, just make sure we use the same one so that way we can mirror image everything and compare apples to apples. We'll use $250,000. Now, knowing what purchase price the client's interested in leads us into our next conversation, and that's our affordability question tab. And our affordability tab is really where it allows us to talk about their income, credit, and assets. And this is a conversation you have with every single one of your clients, letting them know how much they currently make per year, understanding that they're going to have to pull the credit, but let's take a second and talk about it, and really understanding trade lines. This section right here, the one that says non-mortgage debt payment, are really discussing trade lines. And so if you wanted to have that type of discussion, you're able to have that and understand their back-end debt ratios, and really continue on with some savings accounts, with savings balance, to understand how much you're going to put down, or on a refi, how strong you can make it. So as we navigate through the page, you should see that it easily mimics the natural flow of conversation to help you understand whether a client qualifies for a mortgage or not. So as we covered the first 4 tabs, remember, they're just really discovery questions, helping you understand. And that leads me into our product page, because our product page will allow you to start creating your scenarios. And I am going to, in this example, use a product template to show you how fast and easy it is to be able to plug and play and create your scenarios on the go. So in this case, you should see that I just instantly created an FHA 3.5% down. Now, I highly recommend when you create these templates, you always just take a quick glance at that interest rate if it wasn't locked or if it wasn't, the appraisal wasn't ordered. Just make sure that you know you have to reprice. So just FYI, just take a look at that interest rate. But I used the product templates because I really wanted to show you the advantages of using our product templates and being able to plug and play and quickly move throughout the wizard. Now, don't worry, we are going to create one from scratch, but let's talk about what we created before we create another one from scratch. So as you see, I want to just mention that each product that you create has 3 pages to it. So if we take a look and talk about the 3 pages, the first page you look at will consist of your principal and interest. For those of you guys who have HP calculators, you could do the same thing now, adding in the purchase price, what the interest rate is, and what the term is, you could see that it automatically gives you that P&I payment. So the first page will always represent your principal and interest. The second page of the products will talk about the closing cost. How much is it going to cost me to do the loan? Now, you can bulk up your fees, but once again, I highly recommend you take time to create your fee templates and use your fee templates to allow you to distinguish the difference between your fees and third-party fees. Now, once again, for those of you guys who want to see how to create the product templates and fee templates within the wizard or within the client report, we're going to show you that when we create the next product from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click cancel and use these fee templates and move on to the next page. Now you can see that the final page represents the insurance, taxes, mortgage insurance, or if you're going to collect reserves. If you have a second mortgage, you just hit yes, and you should see that it will ask you to amortize the second mortgage. In this case, we're going to go ahead and hit no and create another product instead. So all together now, let's go ahead and create another product. So go ahead and click on add another product. You should see that now it says product 2. Let's go ahead and rename that. We're going to go ahead and put, let's instead of creating a FHA, let's put a 5%, a conventional 5% down. And making sure instead of using our product templates, let's just say that we didn't have a 5-1 arm, but we wanted to create it. Or better yet, let's just create it and I'll show you how to save it. Real easy. Let's put in $250,000 as the purchase price. We're just going to tell the system that we're putting 5% down. Let's use an interest rate. Let's just say at 5% and say it's a 360-month term. As easy as that, I was able to calculate principal and interest. Now, for those of you guys who do ARM products, I will highly recommend or show you that you can change this to an ARM and then just create your ARM adjustments on the next page. That is a call that or a training that we will have on a different call that's a little more advanced, but we're just showing you the fundamentals right now. I'll advance to the next page, and as you can see here, all of these are whited out, so that means I can bulk up my fees. But once again, I highly recommend you take time to choose your fee templates and click on them. Now, in this case, I want to assume that I have no fee templates. If you want to create the fee templates from within the wizard, you can see here that custom fee and add fee are here for you. So if I wanted to, I can add the fees from here and create my fee templates just as if I was using my fee templates on my settings section. So if you have a processing fee that you want to put in there, you're able to do that. And so you're able to create the fees from here. I also want to bring up, since I didn't get to bring up on the other ones, I also want to bring up how you're able to, let me hit appraisal here. I'm going to show you how, for those of you guys who want to add contributions or lender credits, I'm going to show you within our system, if you add a fee, remember for us, lender credit, we put that under contributions. So if you go to contributions, my dev team created logic to make sure that whenever you put in a dollar amount, whatever amount of lender credit, whether it be the seller or the lender, whatever amount you put in, it will automatically move that over to whoever is you're intending to pay that, right? Whoever's intending to pay that. So as you can see here, I did put a contributions of $500, making sure the lender was paying for that, and you should see that that money shifted over to that lender paid side. So for those of you guys who do lender credits, that you'll use the contribution to be able to plug in any type of lender credits or rebate or anything like that for the client. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my fee templates that I already created and apply to loan so I can mimic the cost to be somewhat the same and move on right along. So I plug in my fee templates. I'm now going to go into adding my taxes and insurance and mortgage insurance. So remember, I'm going to use some estimates really quick. But as easy as that, I was able to quickly create a conventional 5% down, adding closing cost, and now I could save this as a template. So if you did not have this 5-1 arm created as a template, you could save this as a template I'll use today, I think is the 16th, so I'll use today's date just so I can know when I created it. And you should see that I just created that as a template. So that's a reusable conventional 5% down that I can use over and over again. So now that we created the second product, I want to take a quick pause and just make sure that we connected some dots. So if I can get a raise of hands that you got that made sense, you just see how we went through a quick conversation, and based off that conversation, we were able to see the client's ratios and structure two loan options for them, an FHA and a conventional product. Thank you for the raise of hands. I do see that a lot of you guys are raising your hands saying you got it, so thank you very much. As we move on to the final step of the presentation, it's the analysis tab. So you're either going to go back to add another product or pretty much you're done. What you're doing here on the analysis summary tab is really just taking a look at your side-by-side comparisons and making sure that they're at the time frames that you would like them to be at. So just to point out, I'll bring your attention to the upper left-hand side and show you that you could change the appreciation rate to whatever appreciation rate is in your local area. You're able to move the short-term analysis in months. And by the way, the short-term is the gold section. And you're able to change the long-term in years. Now, for those of you guys who want to have those discussions about reinvestment strategies, equity repositioning, or just reinvesting in themselves at all, that's where you're going to come in and use the Adjust Reinvestment Strategy. So when you click on the Adjust Reinvestment Strategy, always know that this is where you're going to come to be able to show your client how they're able to make additional payments to their mortgage. And let's just show them what $100 a month extra would do to their mortgage. You'll show them how it'll knock down 4.5 years off their current loan. You could show them how they could reinvest into a savings account, or better yet, for those of you guys who work with financial planners, you can have that conversation within Edge 2, understanding what rate of return was quoted to the client, understanding how much they're going to invest. You could show them a forecast of what they would generate over time. So the Adjust Reinvestment Strategy will definitely assist you in really making sure you take your advice to the fullest. And so I'm going to take the extra $100 off the mortgage. We'll do that live. I'm going to leave that on so you guys can see what that looks like on the report. But as I move on to just showing the report, we're done with the report. Remember, we had a quick conversation. We then showed two products, and we made sure that the side-by-side comparison was as we wanted, and we made sure that if we had any reinvestment strategies, we were able to show them. So the last two tabs are quite easy. The contact page is really just making sure you add their contact information. Why? Because remember at the beginning of the call, I told you that every single time you email this out to your client, you get notified by email that the client viewed the report. By you adding the contact information on this page, this contact information will show up on that email. That way you're able to call your clients at any time. The last tab we get to talk about is the Presentation tab. The Presentation tab has two pages to it. It's either select what report you're going to send out and then send out the report. So if we take a quick second to look at that, you'll see that the Select Report page really allows you to select what you're going to send out. You could send out a total cost analysis, or rent versus own. When the time is right, you'll be able to create seller buy-downs. Always remember you're able to create an amortization schedule for each and every product you create. If you take a look at right below that, you should see it says check products to include in the total cost analysis, uncheck to exclude. So remember, if there's a scenario or option that you no longer want to show, just uncheck it. It'll be hidden from the report. Last but not least on this page is your payment notes. Remember, on the first page, next to the payment page or payment, we put an asterisk letting the client know exactly what that payment represents. So in this case, this is a compliance piece that will allow you to just make sure that when you're providing advice, the client knows exactly what you're providing, whether taxes, insurance are or are not included in the payment. this is where you will advise them whether they are or are not. We're going to jump into sending this out and show you guys how we're able to send out this report. So under the preview tab, or the last page on this report, you should see that there's a couple of different ways your client's able to view this report. They're able to email this link, you're able to print this, and you're able to save this as a PDF. I highly recommend you email this link to your clients for them to view. The most important reason why is because you're always going to be notified every single time the client views the report. You'll see what that looks like in just a second. If you added your realtor partner's email address at the beginning of the contact tab, make sure you include them on that alert. They too will also be notified. I will stop and make a point to talk about the quote dates. This is important not only for yourself, protect the company. Make sure you provide a quote date on when you had this discussion with the client. If they did not lock or secure the appraisal, you know that you have to reprice. If this is a discussion you have to have at later dates. So just make sure you add that quote date. Now let's talk about sending out the report. Sending out the report is done under the Generate Link tab. So for those of you guys joining along, click on Generate Link. You should see that another box, that a report link box pops up. That is the link that you will highlight, copy, paste on an email, and send off to your clients. I will show you in our help section towards the end of the call a few scripts that will help you in emailing these out to your clients. So for those of you guys who want to test this out, go ahead and copy this link, paste it on an email, and send, well, don't copy this link, copy the link that you're creating for those of you guys creating the link. Make sure you take time to send out your first report. This is big in being able to understand how to send it out. So I highly recommend you send it to our support team because they would love to provide feedback and making sure that you guys are up to par on creating these reports. Now, when sending it, for those of you guys who want to add a video narration to the report, it's quite easy to do. All you have to do is click on Add Audio Video, and you should see that it brings up the report. You will see that on the lower left-hand side, it says Record Message. So by clicking on Record Message, you should see it says Allow, and it'll bring up your camera. So for those of you guys who want to provide a video narration, it's quite easy. Keep it simple, keep it brief, describe your products, describe yourself, and describe what you can do. Real easy. You hit stop. You've just narrated the presentation. By adding that audio video, you're able to relay what you're able to do within your scenario. And when they click on it, it looks a little like this. And this is Edge Live, by the way, but it looks a little like this. Not only does the presentation open up, but there you are narrating the report and providing your advice. Really simple. So I'm going to exit out of that. And before I get into talking about the report, let's go back to the software, and by raise of hands, any questions, or in the chat box, any questions regarding creating the report. Have quick discovery questions, show your products, make sure there's any benefit behind it, then you get to send it out. If that makes sense, could you raise your hand? If it doesn't, you can ask any questions you would like. Can we do this? Yes, the refi process is just the same. You're still going to have your discovery questions here. You're still going to show your product here and show benefit here. Your assumptions will be your mortgage. So this is where you're going to have that current mortgage or that refi, their current mortgage, and this is going to be the products you want to get them into. So the structure within a refi and a purchase are still the same. Always know that it's still discovery questions, whether it be purchase or refi. Once you know they qualify, you show them products, then benefit, then you send it out. So when we talk about that, if you guys could raise your hands, can you guys all see my screen and can you hear me? I do see a lot of, thank you. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Thanks a lot, guys. So now that we went through that and showing you how to create the product, let's talk about the best ways to discuss the report. Now, I do see a lot of you guys, or a few of you guys, have some questions. Once again, those questions will be answered. If we can't answer them right now through the call, I definitely, if they're in the question box, we will definitely answer each and every one of them sometime today. So let's talk about how best to read the report, because the one thing is, in creating is one thing, talking about is a different thing. So when we look at the report, just look at the 4 quadrants, and when you're looking at the report, always talk about the report in a Z formation. So I highly recommend you use a Z formation to talk about it. And what I'm going to do is, if I have it, here it is, I'm going to just pop up a quick picture on how best to describe it. So when we talk about it, we're going to talk about the upper left-hand side, making sure that we cover an overview of the options we provided our clients, and then we're going to break off, once we've talked about the overview, we're going to recap with a short-term impact, a mid-term impact, and finish off with a long-term impact. So when we look on how best to talk about the report, take a look how easy it ends up being. Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're going to talk about your loan amount, your interest rate, and payments. We will cover closing costs as we navigate through the summary of it. Keep in mind, once again, as you can see, that whenever I intentionally highlight something, you will see in just a second when I bring up the Edge Live how interactive our website really is. So as we talk about the overview of the products we have for our clients, we can hit the More Info tab and break it up and talk about their payment breakdowns, whether I want to just show them the difference between principal and interest or the complete pity payment. We could talk about closing cost or any reinvestment strategies. In this case, you should see that we talked about a rate of return of 5%, investing $200, and I could show how much you could generate over time. And once we've talked about the overview or the summary section, we get to recap and talk about the difference in monthly impact, and then jump into the difference in the short-term savings within the first 5 years. Now, I will bring your attention, for those of you guys who are not aware, that starting August 15th, you do have to show a 5-year forecast. I want to make sure that with Mortgage Coach, you're already doing that. So you're already a step ahead of the game. Now, before we jump into the long term, let's talk about what we mean when we talk about the short-term savings, or better yet, the net savings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the More Info tab. Now, the More Info tab will allow me to best illustrate how we're calculating the net savings. And we calculate net savings by showing you what the client's non-recoverable cost is, what the client will never recover again. And so when we talk about what the non-recoverable costs are, I want to just point out that that's going to be the interest and MI they pay over time, and the amount of cost. We're going to add those up and show you which one saves you the most amount of money. So when you're looking at the short term and you want to show what net savings means or what net savings represents, we talk about the non-recoverable costs. If you have any questions regarding the net savings, feel free to chime in the question box or email support. We will definitely provide advice on that as well. And the last part of the conversation is the green section, or better yet, the long-term section. And in this case, you should see that the long-term will provide you, in this case, the interest and MI paid over 15 years. And in this case, you can see the differences in how much interest and MI you're going to pay over that time. Okay. So as you can see there, quite easy to be able to discuss the report, view the report, and interact with the report. I'm going to bring in my mobile app and try to see if we can talk about navigating through the software, whether it be via the desktop or whether it be through the mobile app. So in this case, I'm bringing up the mobile app, And let's see here. Do I have? There's the Mortgage Coach app. Let's go ahead and bring in our presentation because we're going to talk about how. Let's share this, and if you don't mind, I'm going to click on share. And for those of you guys who have the mobile device, I'm going to be putting the link in the chat box. So for those of you guys who want to experience the Edge live, I assure you, you'll be able to jump on in just 1 second. Perfect. So as that's getting uploaded, let me go ahead and shrink that a little bit just to make sure. There is the desktop version. For those of you guys who want to see the Edge Live in action, what I did was I copied. I'm putting the link in the chat box. So for those of you guys who want to click on it and join on, you guys could do that. So let's talk about interacting with the report and interacting with your clients. So I'm going to break that up. I'm going to paste the client one there. I'm going to paste, and I'm going to leave this one here. So I want to make sure you guys understand what I'm trying to represent here is the difference between what the client gets to do and what you get to show them. So on the left-hand side, this is the client's report. This is what the client has to click on to interact with you. On the right side, this is the loan officer. This is the loan officer's report. And I'll bring your attention, if I hit I understand, there's the video popping up allowing me to narrate. But what I want to show you is you get to interact and dictate the conversation. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to show you that if I was having a conversation with a client and I wanted to show them what the interest rates are, take a look at the left side of my screen. It's highlighting along with me. I can highlight payments. You should see it highlights the same. I want to now bring in the mobile app because I want to also make sure, let me shrink this one a little bit, that you see that it happens for both. Whether it's the desktop or whether it's the mobile, you should see that the loan officer on this side is intentionally highlighting different things. And you should see that no matter what, whatever you highlight on this end, not only will highlight for you on, or for the client on the desktop, it highlights on the mobile app as well. So for those of you guys who haven't had the opportunity to play with our mobile app and see how interactive it is, I highly recommend, once again, you go to the app stores and download the Mortgage Coach Edge app. I can open up more pages and break down that payment cost. You should see it happens for desktop and mobile phone as well. So I'm going to take a quick pause and make sure that we are all aligned. I know we covered a lot, but I want to take a quick second and first talk about, can I get by raise of hands, did everybody understand how to email this link to your clients by going into the software and generating the link? Any questions regarding that? I do. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for responding. Now that we've covered on how to email it, any questions regarding how to provide audio video, making sure that you're able to narrate your advice and really get in front of the client from afar? Hold on one quick second because I see a question come in and I want to make sure I answer that. Okay, so for those of you guys who are having issues with your pictures, it's probably because the size, there's a size issue. If you take a look at the settings section, and by the way, I'm going to exit this and go to the settings section. If you go to the settings section, you go to your images, those are the ideal resolutions that your pictures need to be. If you have any issues on resizing, chime in with my support team, support@mortgagecoach.com. Let them know you have that issue, and I believe they might be able to help you out. If not, they'll lead you in the right direction. I do have another question. So the video itself there is a limit to it, but you can go on for 5 minutes if you really wanted to. If you're asking me how long the video should be. Short and simple, making sure you just capture the 3 things that you really want to send out is really your advice, promote yourself, and promote your options, right? So quick and simple, but if you're asking if there's a time limit, I believe you can leave up to a 5-minute or a little over 5 minutes, but I'm not exactly sure. So I hope that answered that. A lot of good questions in here. It looks like we're talking about the Edge Live. So when we talk about Edge Live, let's take a second to talk about that, because it looks like a lot of you guys are asking, well, what if I send it out? How do I talk about the report from afar? So remember, when you're on your home page, and let me get back onto this home page over here, when you are on your home page, no matter what you're doing, where you're at, if you receive a phone call and you're at your desk and Joe calls you and wants to talk about the report, remember, it's very easy to double-click on the software, right, to open up Joe's file. But then you also want to use the Edge Live software to interact with him. So remember, you always go to your preview page, because you need to preview what you created, and click on preview. Now, before I talk about anything further, you can see that it's left it there. Let me exit this. I want to point out the 2 different tabs at the top of my screen. For those of you guys navigating through the software, it's quite easy to be able to have 2 tabs open. That way, when you're in the software, you can make any adjustments you feel need to be changed or create the report. Now, when you're talking about the report, all you do is click on the report and highlight, allowing you to interact with your client at the same time. So as you can see here, I have 5 individuals viewing this report right now as we speak. Those 5 individuals will see everything I've done, whether it be adding anything. Whoops, let me move that so that will get out of the way. And anything I clear, you should see will clear for them. So as we go through that, that's the best way to be able to talk about the report. Obviously, that's practice and time. So as we wrap up the call, once again, I highly recommend any questions, chime in. A lot of great questions. And by the way, let me take a quick second to thank my support team for being on top of those questions. But as we wrap up the call, I really want to make sure you understand that we're here to build success together. So I know that Mortgage Coach is something new, and for individuals to be able to visually express our loan scenarios and loan options. So as we go through these challenging times and making sure that we're able to learn a new way of communicating and providing advice, just know that we're just a phone call away, or better yet, we're an email away. And I say email because you could always email support@mortgagecoach.com, and our support team is great. They're always ready to answer any of your questions. That leads me into our final 2 tabs. Obviously, I don't have to go on talk about sign out, but I do want to take a quick second and talk about that help tab. So for those of you guys who want extra assistance in navigating through the wizard, click on our help tab. We have a ton of help. And I'll start off by just mentioning our quick reference guide. So our quick reference guide or links will allow you to understand what coaching calls and what trainings we've had in the past, or better yet, any future coaching calls or training events for the future. Our recommended playlist. I highly recommend you use check out our recommended playlist. A ton of value. First off, you have our self-scripts that help you navigate through different types of scenarios, whether it be, how to position Mortgage Coach prior to sending out the emails, or whether it be Tim Lamb and how to effectively write email communications. These are a total of 2 hours and 14 minutes, but they're broken up into different segments. So take time to view them and rewind, fast forward, self-educate yourself. And then you can also take time to check out our scripts. Our M scripts are very valuable. It'll help you out in understanding how some of our top professionals are using, Mortgage Coach, and some emails that will assist you in, what to say and how to say it and how to get that advice out. The last thing I'm going to cover is our featured walkthrough videos. Remember, our featured walkthrough videos are quick YouTube or direct download links that will allow you to see at your own pace how to create different types of options, whether it be, in this case, creating a purchase total cost analysis, or whether it be any of the other reports that we have. But keep in mind, it's either a YouTube or a direct download, however you want to view it, and we give you a quick synopsis of what to view or what you're viewing. Now, finishing off with feature walkthroughs, because that was the last thing I was talking about, because it fits hand in hand, is your knowledge base. Our knowledge base is phenomenal because all you have to do is type in what you're looking for, and in this case, I'll click on subordinate, and you can see that if I wanted to learn how to subordinate a second, there's that video. If I want to go in there and talk about mortgage insurance, you should see there's that video. So for those of you guys who want some extra time on your own pace, I highly recommend the help section. It will definitely give you some great nuggets on how to become a pro at Mortgage Coach. So that being said, once again, I thank you very much for joining me on this quick MC adventure. Until next week, looking forward to it. Have a good one, guys.